To have you here.
Me
Please
too.
karibu sana and tusalimie ili tuanze.
Thank you very much. I'm so pleased to be here once again to share out what we have been able to gather and what we understand would be the situation or the explanation to some of these things that would be so entangled in certain quagmire. So we would like to untangle this with a form of understanding, and so it's always my pleasure to share out what I have been able to learn, because in every experience for anyone, life experience is a learning moment, and so we learn. I may learn what you've not learned, you may learn what I've not learned, and so it's a moment of sharpening each other. So I appreciate for being involved in this kind of, platform to do this.
Okay, my dear viewer, let's begin with the floods that rocked Nairobi and are still rocking Nairobi. How did we find ourselves in such a treacherous place where our roads turned into rivers, our homes turned into ponds, and how did we get there, Bwana Muredi?
Well, I would like to sound euphoric and say that there's been a laxity, not really a total failure for the government and the county, and especially counties which have some urban centers. There's been that laxity. Kenya has not been hit with numerous challenges, unlike countries like Asian countries which experience flood time to time. Countries like the north, the west, who experience snow and all these kind of,
glaciers,
the glaciers, those kind of slides, and eventually they cause floods. So their preparation has always had their antennas up. So Kenya and Africa, and especially countries in tropical zones, we don't have these kind of challenges. And if they are there, they are not as vehement as they would be in such other places. So you see, preparing for a scorching sun, scorching heat. While they're talking about heat waves, the highest that happens in Nairobi, that's not part of our discussion. They allow me to switch it off.
Okay.
And now we're good. What I'll explain is that being in a tropical zone, it explains one thing. We are in a very balanced climatic condition. And you cannot compare this to countries like in the Asian zones, where if you go to the Arab world, temperatures go as high as 50 degrees centigrades. China, we thought the movies they act with these umbrellas, we thought it's just a way, it's a fashion. It's actually a lifestyle. You must have an umbrella, because when it comes to real summer, there's some areas which actually hit 56 degrees. While in Kenya we complain of 31 degrees, 32 degrees, like some places like northeastern where they would go to as high as maybe 38. That's the highest we experience. So you see, when we sit down in one table, I thought, allow me to switch it off. This is a person who does not understand.
All right, let's
get
on.
Thank you. So when we are planning, we may not plan like the Arabs or the Asians who are actually getting soft.
So are you alluding to the fact that are you alluding to the fact that our preparedness is too low?
Our preparedness is not enough, is not complete. And so I think this is what has not been looked into. The magnitude of the kind of floods that we're experiencing, the climatic change, which happens after every 30 to 40 years geographically, what happens is that when we're having this kind of changes, are we preparing ourselves towards these eventualities? So when I was explaining the difference between the tropicals and the sub-Saharan continent, we are experiencing, we don't experience these weather changes through the year. We don't experience them with such extremities. So when floods come, they don't come with such force.
Intensity.
So when you're planning for tunnels that would carry the water that you have ever imagined that would be floods. Yeah. So we go for a 32-inch pipe for drainage, 32, 24-inch pipe, is something like this. That's 24-inch. So when we're planning for such a thing, we did not anticipate that there would come floods that would actually overwhelm what we already have. So we need like 50-inch pipe, but now we're working with 30-inch pipe. So you see the difference. But somebody in Germany...
So there could be a problem with the planners.
The problem with the planners, but again, the geographical position of where we are. But now the problem is, once we have the planning problem, when we have the planning problem, of course, the government has failed because they would have anticipated of what we call the uncertainties. Because you can plan for the sun, but can you take it beyond? Because there's something that may happen that is beyond what you really know.
You see, my concern is not even those climatical and all those things, is where there is sheer negligence. Because like if the trenches, the water canals and the drainage system is clogged.
Yes.
Can you really blame our geographical location in the tropics or in the sub-Sahara? No, that is why I'm saying it has something to do with the leadership. Because every morning people are wearing clothes. Yeah. Every month people are drawing salaries to make sure that the drainage of the city is opened and or other counties. So how did we arrive where we are?
Why I'm trying to explain about the difference in the kind of rains that we had. Of course, there is a failure that is in leadership that is sort of short-sighted.
Yes.
When they were planning in 1972, they never thought there was a time there would be that, explosive growth of our population.
Okay.
So in their planning, they thought just the way they are, how many were they? They were around 8 million in 1979-78 census, 79 census. So while they were planning for 8 million, they thought maybe it's another 500,000 coming. But there came a time when we are actually adding the population by the millions. So what has happened is that while we were still working on agreements and charters and whatever that had been set aside and plans in our city plan, in the planning, that had actually envisaged a certain trend of growth, we were overtaken.
Okay, but I agree with that. I agree with that. But let's look at what we can see with our eyes.
Yes.
Because it does not need rocket science. I believe the infrastructure could have been underestimated and it might have not been upgraded. But if water bottles and the trash are the ones that are blocking the drainage, can we first of all talk, because there is usually what we call elimination method. When there's a problem, you don't just go to the most complex.
Yes.
You begin with the simple, eliminating the simple as you go to the more complex. We have problem of trash in the city of Nairobi. Yeah. True or false?
True.
And every time there are people that are drawing salaries to do that. Why are the drainage systems still clogged that the water cannot pass? And let me tell you, if you want us to go practical, these machines are live. We can just go down here and you see the drainage. It's full of trash. Water bottles, water cans, papers, and all those things. There are even some drainage that even reeds and the grass are growing inside them. Like the place where I live, I don't want to mention the name. I just came looking at the kind of flooding that we are having there on the road, and I look at the drainage on the side of the road. It has grown reeds. It is completely covered. Why is that not being fixed?
Well, the fixing itself is supposed to be several prong approach.
Okay.
It's not just one prong approach. I can approach it from the government side. And that's why I'm trying to be so level-headed on this. Because I have witnessed that even the drainage systems that were clogged were actually washed away by the mass water volume that was flowing. You will check on tunnels today, trenches, and you will see most of them are clean. Evidently, And I think this is something that we need to check out. So what I'm trying to say is that that from the natural point of view, that one I can say the overwhelming downpour that happened was actually inundating to the county and to the national government. I'm not a proponent of laxity. I'm not a supporter of negligence. No, but all I'm trying to say is that can we now try and find the solutions? When we find plastics disposed everywhere, okay? I'm the one who's used the plastic bottle. Then I drop it down. That's behavioral. Is that the county or the individual? That's an individual who has done that. When the county does not provide litter bins.
I agree with that, because it could still be the problem of our leaders.
Yes.
Because if you have not provided for
I was coming to that point.
Then you see.
I was coming to that point that I have the power and to carry the bottle and dump it at the right place in my house or wherever. But now come to the failure of the leadership of leadership now. They do not provide litter bins. Okay. In the estates,
along the roads,
in the estates, in the cities, and even a system of collection of garbage is not consistent. That's a failure in leadership. So that's what I'm saying. We want to look at these things so that while we're blaming them, let's see whether there is some correctional aspect on our behavior.
But you see,
so that is part of it. Now, as sitting as a management, and you want to see how best we can do it, so that these people don't throw the bottles down. We will make sure that we have as many litter bins as possible in strategic locations, and manage them.
So we are in agreement that leadership is
has a problem.
Absolutely,
there is a problem.
Because if you put a litter bin by the roadside, by the market, it is telling my mind that I should drop my bottle there. In the case where there is not that litter bin, it may take very extreme discipline to carry that bottle until you take it home. So you find that it is being tossed. And I still feel like we have leadership issues. And let me show you the area I want us to focus on. Because I want us to look at something called supervision. And I think in Kenya, this is our weakest link. We know how to begin projects. We don't know how to supervise and make sure the right thing is done. You see roads being built, but who supervises to make sure that the right thing has been done? There is one road I don't want to mention because I'm not here to upset, but it is happening everywhere. And if you want to find whether what I'm saying is true, just walk and you'll see it on the roads. It will be up to you to say who is in charge here. But you find that, like, there's a road I pass there almost after every 3 months. They must come to repair the potholes. So they repair, but nobody supervises to see whether it is done professionally. They just come, toss a few hardcore stones, and then they pour something, and then they step on it. And as the vehicles begin to stop, the ballast is gone, the rocks begin to fly, the pothole goes back to where it was, and then they are given another work to come and repair the same potholes. So that makes me to see that we are having problem of supervising to make sure that we have. So is it because in the county government, like in Nairobi, we don't have supervisors who can supervise and make sure the services are being done the way they are supposed to be done?
Well, supervisors are there. Projects are initiated left and right daily, that we need to recarpet road ABCD, we need to construct road ABCD, and these are kind of things that come around. But what really hampers the implementation and the sustenance of the intended result, it is something called corruption, you know. And you as a presenter and as a station, you can go shy to say a place like Mudurwa. At Mudurwa Market, under the bridge at that corner, there is a hole that blocks every other time. And one day I had to stop there when they were doing it, and I asked them, why do you keep doing the same thing every time on this hole, knowing too well that it blocks? The reason why drainage blocks is because from here to maybe a certain point there, the pipe is getting narrow and is expected to hold a lot. So it bursts at the manholes.
Okay.
And the manhole is in the middle of the road.
Okay.
So don't you think there's a major repair that should be done, like enlarging the drainage pipe? And I'm saying this from the qualification of the fact that in the infrastructural field, I'm an expert as a plumber. So we talk drainage from that point of understanding. So I asked them, why would you remove a small pipe that is clogging and replace with a new one?
A small one, another small
just a similar size. Same thing happens in places like place I usually visit, Burburu, along Charles New Road. It always blocks from Makadara.
And that could be an issue with the planners.
When they replace the pipes,
when
they chose to replace the pipes, so that they can now contain the effluent from the fast growing Makadara, because now we're having high-rise structures. Yet it was planned for mud houses, and small bungalows. Now today it's flats, high-rise. On the same plot you're having 200 people occupying, yet it was actually planned for 5 people. Now when you get down to such, and you do not, because the problem is the city planning, the city planning department, when they don't envisage the growth.
So how many years are
it becomes a problem
right now in Kenya since the first president?
Can you imagine? Over 60 years. But before then, I can't blame the generation that was there during the first generation, the Kenyatta regime. Moi regime found it easy, but what they did, there was a lot of negligence, and so we did not update at that point. And I'm not blaming Moi. I'm saying he did not update the whatever he had. The plan was there. Yes. When I mention a regime, I mean they sit in a cabinet with the Minister for Planning. So he should present his proposals, because the president expects the experts he has assigned to advise him accordingly.
Could it be that the ministers never presented that?
They never,
because I know the usual work.
They never advised him accordingly, because they found a moment of lull, a moment of when corruption was taken to the notch. Now, the high speech. Now, that is the time that this laxity took place. Implementation of whatever planning that was done in 1972, which Kibaki came to implement in 2000, because he got back to what he had. You know, and I'm making reference to this because while we were dealing with congestion and creating avenues for the traffic officer to do a collection that ends up in the highest place, it was a system, but a system of corruption. But when the president came in and said, no, we will have to do bypasses, so that you can offload these roads. That is what is called planning. But the capacity itself, while Kibaki was doing it, he did 3 lanes. You know, one-way traffic, 3 lanes, do away with roundabouts we started during that regime. So you see, that is planning ahead. But now, talking about what we have right now, the expressway, these were plans that were already laid down by the government of Mwai Kibaki, who was talking about having flyovers, what do you call it, these expressways, within the CBD, because there's no way to expand. You just have gari za kuingia, they use the under or the top, you know. That's how the city was planned. Kenyatta Avenue, Moi Avenue, Haile Selassie, which in fact Haile Selassie was to begin from Lendis Road, a city stadium, high all the way to NHIF where it is. These were plans that were spoken out. I'm not guessing. Kenyatta Avenue was to meet Moi Avenue from the top,
up there,
all the way to Valley Road. This is the system that was supposed to be there, you know. So when we are wowed by expressway coming in,
we're talking about blueprints. So it means there are blueprints.
There are blueprints.
And when we are talking about regimes, I don't think regimes should come with blueprints. Blueprints exist even before the people are elected to office.
Absolutely.
They will find the blueprint that says this road needs to be dualed after like 10, 15, 20 years, so that it stops to be single lanes and things like that. And so what happens now when these regimes come? I think what they fail to do, they ignore the blueprints.
The blueprint.
Right now I was watching, I think something on one of the televisions, and it was showing that kuna bomoa in places like Tasia, because people build on waterways. So what do we have to say about those who are sitting in the office?
Because
can they really happen just below their noses and they cannot detect it?
We have experts, people who are well-versed and educated in specific fields. So if you go to an infrastructural engineer who has never complained of the quality of cement that is being produced by most manufacturers. Today we hear there is something we call economy cement. When you talk about economy cement, it means it's weaker than normal. Now, how do you expect it to withstand the kind of downpour that we were having? The governor may not know what quality is good for cement, but the engineer who is in the engineering department of the county or even in the Ministry of Public Works, is supposed to know these things. So what we're saying is that anytime we work on these things, the county governor is actually expecting to be advised. A governor, in terms of leadership, or a president or a member of parliament, has had some experts. Of course, you have an idea, but now when we talk about the county, they have departments, special departments that are supposed to do the research and feed him with adequate information.
So can we call this a failure of people that are being elected to office, so that when they come, they don't come to continue the blueprint that is in existence, but they come and they just sit and enjoy the allocations and the budgets, and there's nothing new that is being built? Because I believe the budget that we had during the time of Moi is not the same budget that we were doing in the time of Kibaki, and it's not the same we were doing during the time of Uhuru Kenyatta. Don't even compare with what we have today. The budgets that we have today are quite higher. And why are Kenyans not seeing the impact of that bigger budgets? Because now we are talking like a budget of 4.3 trillion.
So what we're looking at,
that means more resources were allocated for roads and all this.
We have more resources allocated. But I've mentioned something about corruption. And I said corruption is a conduit of channeling out, in the wrong direction, resources, so in the form of stealing. So it doesn't help. But I had spoken about how regimes come in. Those days when they were planning they were working with some hundreds of billions in the first regime, second regime the same, in our budget, because the last budget President Moi did was for, I think, 960 billion. It hadn't even hit a trillion. But when President Kibaki came, and I'm not hailing Kibaki, but let's give credit where it's due. He shut down the borrowing systems, and made it local, and started again generating resources from within. He was stimulating the economy in various ways, and that's how he worked in his time. Now, the one who succeeded him could not match the game. So he broke the systems and put away the blueprint and started creating his own ideas and worked on his own ideas. Now, the one who followed him was now coming in as a challenger, not a successor. So he is removing this, abandoning this, and doing this new thing. That's why even the current president, you see, he's being challenged with abandoning his own manifesto, because the system which he had explained that was really bought by the majority who voted for him to elect him is because he convinced them that this is how he would do it, and you remember he did so. But when he got to the seat, those who expected to own the affordable housing units through rent, of course they'll own through rent, but they were expecting to pay up to 840 or 820,000. That is what we campaigned on. But today, the cheapest you can get is which could be the size of a studio, is around 1.28 million. The others are going for around 3.6 million. It was not part of the agenda, and you see, it was to actually amass these resources through the rent money and the what they were calling the levies. Okay, but now the taxation, which was being hyped by the opposition of 1.5 as a tax, is what he adopted immediately. So he abandoned his system that convinced the people and came with this other one. Now, when we talk about infrastructure development, while Uhuru Kenyatta thought of expressways, you know, there is enough space. You don't go for an expressway when you have enough space for expansion. So you leave Mombasa Road on a 2-lane one-way road, yet you go and do another one on top, and we have another 2 lanes on either side that you can be able to add. So it was just a matter of expansion from here to Mombasa. But because of corruption, I want to own this road for 28 years through some proxies. This is what happened, as a matter of fact. And this is what is happening when you hear, oh, Kenya Airways, actually, the oil refinery was to be sold to a certain tycoon's son in Nigeria, blah, blah, only to discover there's some relationship, you know, coming in, family relationship, and all these kind of things. Safaricom, oh, you discover it's a proxy. Tuju's case, we are seeing issues coming up that there were proxies. There could have been proxies, people who opposed the proxies. And this is just some of these. When we were talking about SHA, the introduction of Apeiro, the convergence, and Adani, we saw that our leadership is in Apeiro, you know, and it's not me. It was in public domain. Now, these are the kind of things, and that's how this business was done throughout the previous regime and coming into this new regime. So corruption is a behavior. It's a behavioral thing. So if we change our behavior, our mindset, the way we think, the way we act, then the society will be different and the results will be tremendous. That's why in Kibaki's regime, you could see Kenyans arresting police officers who were supposed to arrest the criminals, so they were criminals themselves. That is how you turn around a society mindset. So what I'm trying to say, when you see a failure in infrastructure, is because there is no accountability, because the one I'm supposed to be accountable to is also a supporter of this thing, you know? And that is why, you know, that's why we are complaining.
What surprises me very much is because in other countries, when things like this happen, somebody has to be fired. Has anybody been fired? Is there any CEC who has been fired? Is there any supervisor or manager or director of services who has been fired? Because it is failure, and if we people are given job to do, when they fail to do, we still congratulate them and give them salary and give them sitting allowances and fringe benefits. Where are we headed to as a country? Because somebody has to be, we must get the culprit.
Yes.
Who has caused this?
You'll help me with the scripture if you have it so close. There's a scripture that says, like the priest, like the flock. I don't know whether I saw it in Ecclesiastes or in the book of Jeremiah.
In Isaiah.
Jeremiah.
Ezekiel,
actually,
like
Jeremiah. I think I saw it in Jeremiah. Like the priest, like the flock. If the priest is a failure, then the whole flock fails. In any system, if the priest, if the leader is thinking in a certain dimension, which may not necessarily be correct, it means the whole crowd will follow. And if you've seen the behavior of a shepherd with his sheep, the true shepherds don't actually shepherd their sheep from behind. They shepherd their sheep from the front, singing some very good songs and talking to them and calling them by name. That's how I've watched shepherds of the past, and I found some who are actually leading their sheep, their flock, on the front. Unlike today, they're beating them from behind. That is not now shepherding. The shepherd of those days were walking ahead. So when the shepherd is ailing or has something that is incapacitating that person from getting to where they expect to find greener pastures, it means they will end at hungry. So the ailing society of this country is ailing because there is a problem in the leadership, and the leadership is at status.
How are we going to deal with the flooding issue? Because that is what so that we wind up and move on, I want us to say something about the Tuju saga and all these things. Yeah, please. Tell me, how are we going to make sure Nairobi there's no flooding?
With what we have explained here in mind, that we need to have our experts match up their expertise with their with the actions
that
on
is
ground.
The planners now.
The planners.
The city planners.
We need to have a goodwill of the leadership, because you can have all these plans and they would be ignored by the one who is supposed to sign for the resources that would enable you to do this. So they may lack facility, they may have the good ideas presented on the table, but the facilitator is not having the goodwill. So what you're trying to say is that we want from head to the bottom. And that's why I was trying to bring in everybody so that we tackle this thing collectively. Today we are facing the challenge of infrastructure. Okay, and I have mentioned something that not so many people know about. They say, hey, ninaokoa simiti kwa sababu nimenunua ya 700 ama 600 economy na ule mwingine amenunua ya 900. What I'm trying to say is that the Kenya Bureau of Standards should be held responsible when a substandard cement is released to the market, because everybody wants to save.
And it's going to build the infrastructure.
Absolutely.
And
we want to save. Why are they going for unqualified or less qualified contractors? Actually, some contractors don't even have an idea. They only were able to establish an office, obtain a certificate from the National Construction Authority, from the county, and from the ministry, and they would be able now to operate. They are not experts in that area.
They never went to school.
They don't know nothing. They don't know nothing. And they're the ones who are actually running the show. Look at interior design. People are dismantling what is being done because of, we can talk a lot of things.
Do you see this flooding issue coming to an end?
One thing is that the advantage we have right now is that we have the registration of elections. We must register. We must participate. All of us. To Kokadi. We must, all of us, register as voters and participate. Because if you don't vote, I vote for you. So if my choice does not please you, it means you will continue to endure another 5-10 years. So the change that is coming is not really replacing a president or an MP or whoever. It is one who has allowed our system to stay in lull for over 2 to 3 decades. We're blaming ourselves in our selection when we are electing, because it is just recently people realized, oh, okay, after eating 2,000 shillings or earning 2,000 shillings from the handouts, I am actually complaining for 5 years, you know, with overspending the 2,000 shillings in a few hours or a few days, 1-2. So what I'm trying to say is that the change of mind. If change does not begin from within us, then we'll not change the society. Some wise men told me, if things around you don't work, if circumstances around you don't change, then be the one to change. Now, so Kenyans must change.
About this issue of flooding, I think a few things are emerging, we should be unapologetic about it. The right work, the right job, the right quality job has not been done in putting the infrastructure together. I think the budgets are so much squeezed, and sometimes even the right rate of mixing cement might not have been used, and so there's a problem there. But I pick it with the supervisors. Anybody that is in charge of supervising a road that has been done, supervising a water drainage that has been done, a sewer line that has been done, I think that person is the person that really needs, because he's the one who says it's okay or it's not okay. And I think we never hear that it is not okay. I think everything that is built, even if they find that it is substandard, it is still given a tick and we continue. And this has to change. Of course, we're giving us the long-term way of changing the situation by voting out the leaders. And that issue of voting sometimes is very tricky. It has become very tricky in Africa because these people, I think, as a country, we must also free ourselves, because I believe Kenya is a captive of our own politicians. But let's move on.
You see, if you're caught captive, even by the devil himself, don't blame the devil, blame yourself. Why did you allow? Why did I allow the devil to speak to me? Yet there was a voice that told me don't, or do it, you know? So this is the same thing. So if I do not change, I don't want to bash the supervisor, because the supervisor might have presented to the one who has the resources 13 billion, 30 billion to use in implementing these proposals that have been presented by the supervisors and the engineers. But signing enough as requested is the key thing. So you're saying the reason why it doesn't come out like that is because there is an element of corruption.
Let's move on to this Tuju issue, because I know my dear viewers, they really want to know what happened. Tuju is one of the most senior politicians in this country, and he has played key roles in the past regimes, and all of a sudden it appears Tuju is so big, such a big problem, even to the place of this public humiliation. What is happening to Tuju? What is wrong?
Well, I have tried as much as I can to avoid being personal in businesses I was not involved when they were dealing with each other. Yeah. Because I have come to discover that with what is coming to public domain, that even the title deed that Tuju is supposed to be having is in somebody else's hands. Maybe it went through the hands, maybe through the auctioneers or whatever, but the bank or something.
The ones that take the collateral.
Yes, yes. Yeah. And there are some underhand dealings that took place. And so some of them were not, Tuju was not privy to. And that's how even a title deed would leave a bank and go to somebody else's bank, hands. Because when it gets to a point where people are producing, copies of the title deed, of course you can do a search and obtain one. But when you have an original title deed and it's being said it is with somebody else, it means there's a breach of contract even with the bank and the loanee and the person and the bank itself. So what you're trying to say is that this Tuju saga is sort of personal. It has come public, and the unfortunate bit is that if I see it from his side, crying that, yes, I am willing now to pay, because I remember that issue coming up when it was 2 billion when Uhuru Kenyatta was president, and that is something that silenced Tuju. Everybody has debt here and there, but in the negotiation, I think there was some reprieve that was offered, and that is how come he was working so well with the Jubilee government. And when the entry of this government, because he had to please his master, Uhuru Kenyatta, the entry of this government, the villain...
Are you forgetting that Kenya is a country of we will revisit?
Yeah, that's what happened.
Because because somebody was not happy when he was
when Deputy President was isolated, then Deputy President William Ruto was isolated and given his Tangatanga title, it means he was released of his duties. And the likes of Matiang'i began to shine, the likes of Kibicho began to shine, the likes of Tuju began to shine from a political party standpoint. Many other people began to shine, and they became disrespectful to the president. So I think the revisiting thing is what is taking place right now, and as I'm saying, it's a bit personal, but it has gotten to a point where we are looking at it and saying, I think it has gone overboard, because there are various communities that have complained of land grabbing by force, obtaining land by force by the highest office. And when you went to places like, is it Bomet, you go to places like Narok, you hear their cases there. You come now to Nairobi, the affordable housing, the way is being implemented is we're taking by force, Then when you go deeper into checking the interest, there is something that is actually robbing Kenyans called the PPP, public-private partnership. The public share, which is supposed to be shared amongst, floated for Kenyans to take, it has not been happening until the recent complaint raised by Kenyans that we need to partake, courtesy of Dendi Nyoro. Okay. Now, what you're trying to say is that it has been happening for quite a while, and people didn't know that they ought to own these shares. The private partner, I'm listening in the PS of housing, and she explains how they are able to collect 600 billion shillings by every year from the taxes. Okay. And there we are talking about the private developer coming in. So if we're collecting 600 billion, do you know how many 600 billion can do? If I try to imagine and contextualize this, I will tell you it's enough to do this infrastructural development without feeling the pain.
Okay. Bring us back to Tuju.
Now, Coming back now to Tuju, because I was
Yes.
just explaining how this corruption is happening
what
and why
works.
people want to own the portions of land
Okay.
which are empty. Because if I go to an estate like Jericho, Makadara, Buruburu, wherever they go, Maringo, not Buruburu, Maringo, they have playgrounds, and that one is going to come out with a different title deed. And where the property is sitting will be a block. So these are the interests we're talking about. Now, coming back to Tuju's effect.
But okay, let me ask something about Tuju. How much was the original loan that Tuju took from that bank? Is it East Africa Development Bank?
It's East Africa Development Bank. I
Okay.
think they were talking about, is it...
Some hundreds of millions.
some hundreds of millions.
Yes.
But you see, whether they were inflated, I think is just the way the bank sometimes behaves.
No. The other thing we need to notice is, okay, that was about the property. Now the property is now developed.
The property
so
is
the
developed.
value is up. If he got only, like, let's say 300 million or something like that, and then development was done and buildings were built and all that, the value is higher. And I'm wondering what the proxy, because it's a proxy that is saying we paid 400 and is it 50 or something like that to get Tuju's property through what we call auction. Really, you don't know who even to believe.
That's what I'm saying. It's still a corrupt scheme. What Tuju
Yes.
obtained from the bank was supposed to be paid up fully.
Okay,
And Tuju had not claimed that he had paid up fully.
he has not claimed that.
Yes.
Okay,
So what you're trying to say is that anytime I owe you, I start to kind of cede some rights.
okay,
You get the point? Because one thing is that I owe you. The only thing that has been unfair to Raphael Tuju
Yeah.
is these escalating figures. I mean, these transmogrifying figures.
Yeah.
Today it's a certain number of billions. Tomorrow is a certain number of tens of billions. Tomorrow the next time we now want 14 billion shillings on the same property that was supposed to be paid up to billion. Now, when we're looking at it from that point, because it started at 2 billion, during Kenyatta's time, it was at 2 billion. That's the loan Tuju was supposed to pay. Now, we hear that Tuju was claiming himself that they have taken it so high, it's now gotten to 14 billion. It was 9 billion at some point.
so
it was
there are some
certain billion.
illegalities.
There are lots of illegalities. There are
perpetrated.
lots of illegalities.
Okay.
And that is why I said, to me, it's very personal, and I may not really be hoodwinked not to think of the trillions that are being lost in the economy from the public coffers and begin to discuss
But
Tuju.
it is quite clear there's somebody who wants that property.
Say somebody wants that property.
Whether by hook or crook.
By hook or crook,
whichever
he'll
way,
get
yeah.
it. And that's why we're saying he's acting with proxies. These according to the exposés that we are getting from phone calls and all these things that have been brought to
Okay.
the
All right.
limelight. So what you're saying is that it's not that it's not an issue that should be considered, because I could be the next victim. But what you're trying to say is that the issue of Tuju and the corruption that has been spoken about, from the sale of oil refinery to the sale of Nairobi Hospital to the saga in many other things, infrastructure, contraction. People are getting contracts based on who you know and who's close to you, and that's how it's working. You heard of a case where somebody was deported. I've not heard anybody from the other side challenging that there was no deportation. Then it means there was unfairness. In 2015, there's somebody who came in the rural Nyeri from Germany and offered to purchase their coffee bean, at 500 shillings. He was deported the same night.
Oh.
You're making these people rich.
Oh,
500
so somebody
sell to me beans, just dry beans.
The common citizen to be poor, to remain
That
poor, not to
is-
benefit from whatever they have.
That is what they vouch for, keeping us poor so that they can have a campaign platform. Somebody was saying how all of a sudden from the same parliament, you are the now people campaigning outwardly, openly, that SHA is not working. Now we know SHA is not working. Do you know what they want to do? Allocate ourselves some more funds. We go do these fundraisers for these people now until elections. So what does it mean? It means that we will change our mindset and begin to love the people from the government proponents. We will begin now to love them. Wanatusaidia kwa mazishi, matanga, hospitali, nini, they're helping us. They're helping us. That mindset of nita wafanyia should actually change. The electorate should learn to elect people who say tuta, so that you ask him, what's my part? What's our part? Because if you say Nita, there's no superhumans.
Okay.
But they position themselves as superhumans, and that's why we make mistakes over and over.
Our politicians, they only promise what they know. Either it will benefit them in their pockets or it will give them political mileage. And so the goodwill of doing a good job, delivering services for citizens is not there. The goodwill is not there.
Sure.
The politician cannot do anything unless he knows he's going to get something out of it.
Let's get this fallacy of a politician. A football match is complete when it has a referee.
Okay.
Without a referee, it's not a football match. Without the fans, it's not a football match. It gets entertaining when we have all these people participating.
Yeah.
Is there any one of them who does not understand the rules of that game?
Okay.
They are all adherents. So a politician who is in the leadership position and the one who put him in that leadership position, we both playing the same rules. It's only that we are on the trenches, he's actually in the pitch.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And the IBC is the referee. And we are the ones who do not know our position, you know? And that's why I was saying the mindset, the revolution of the mind, that one must take place.
So this Tuju issue, let's bring it to a close, because I want us to move a little bit ahead and talk about the insults. I want to ask questions about insults, because it's quite really something that is causing a lot of interest. But currently, what is the situation of Tuju's case?
Right now, he's still in hospital. He's still obtaining medical help. While at the same time, the police have also stood their ground. And when you talk about the police, you're talking about the police and getting instructions, because the forces, whether it's military or police force, they get instructions from above.
Somewhere.
From somewhere. And it goes all the way to the top, to the commander. Yeah, it goes all the way to the commander, because there are some decisions that will have the involvement of the IG consulting with the CS consults with the cabinet. Cabinet is where it's chaired by the president. Yeah. So there's some things which are to be passed. So when I'm talking about the Tuju thing, may not really get to the cabinet issue, but if it's tainting the State House, then it will have to be dealt from that point.
Okay.
And you heard the president saying that he's advising Tuju to get advice from the right sources.
Yeah.
You know?
And not scavengers.
No, not scavengers. So there was somebody who was explaining about the vultures. The vultures killed the one who is about to die, you know. Vultures kill the one who is about to die. Yeah. The little life that is left in you, they begin now to tear you apart and kill you. That's the vulture. Yeah. And that's how they get out with a heart that is still beating. So they can get out with the title deeds, you know. So the title deed is somewhere with the vultures. So the scavengers are saying, yes, we are scavengers, but how did they get out with this thing that holds life?
So what is the situation of that Tuju property? Do you see him losing it, or you see him retaining the property?
I know he's been histrionic in his approach, because if you know that you are weaker than the opponent, just go to the rooftop and make the shout, you know. That captivating scream, and everybody will actually come to your rescue. We are there to the rescue of Tuju by explaining that if there is an involvement of persons A, B, C, D, and we have a history of persons A, B, C, D on such kind of behavior, that's why you see now most Kenyans are actually empathizing and others sympathizing with Raphael Tuju as a person. Because the forces he's dealing with might end up owning it, rightly, not rightly, but they may end up owning it.
Should it be the issue of If you support me, I will help you.
Yeah, that's how it
If
works.
you don't support me, just die with your
Unfortunately,
problems.
that's the Kenyan problem. That's the Kenyan
And
politics.
should we really be working like this?
No, we shouldn't.
And where is now the Justice Department? Our Justice Department in such a case, because where should this issue be amicably without being interfered with, so that now everybody in this saga can get justice?
Well, as of now, I don't know how I'm going to free up the judiciary. Because judiciary is also bog standard. It's not changing, moving, or exercising its rights as it should be, because some knot is tied somewhere in the form of their budget.
Okay.
The person who is giving you budget is the executive.
Okay.
So you must be very careful in the manner which you make your judgments. So we may feel like running to the courts is the solution. Yes, it could be, but they are also sitting at a very compromised position. The day, I don't know how it's going to work, but maybe with a certain revelation I can be able to understand how to ensure that the judiciary is free from the executive and free from the National Assembly.
Okay.
This system that we have, they must submit to the National Assembly.
Okay.
Because the National Assembly makes their laws. The National Assembly can change.
So can we actually really talk about independence of our institutions, like our courts, if there's a string that is still tied and attached?
If the court systems would choose to act independently in favor of who? Not unjustifiably, in favor of the majority, then they will have a defense.
Okay.
And enable them to survive within the system.
Okay.
Which has the beleaguerments that I had mentioned. Now, if they would do that, be fair on the very small cases that they have, the ones that have a backlog, not the ones that have come to the media attention, then definitely they would have a backing that would enable them to withstand the pressure that would come from executive and that which would come from National Assembly. They must endear themselves to the masses by offering justice to the people. That's judiciary
the
itself.
Constitution of this country, the executive is not supposed to have their free way, whichever they want it is the way they want to take it. The law is supposed to temper the executive from exerting unnecessary pressure on and giving the right.
This was meant on
our Constitution.
It was done on paper. That these are three equal arms of these are three equal arms of government: the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive. They can't be equal. Yet the person who has the military is in the executive.
The money.
The money, the National Assembly has been granted what we call a say.
Sorry.
Talk. After they do their talking, they present to the president for appending his signature to make it to the law, because theirs is to make the laws. So if the executive chooses not to, and he has the power, because he's been mandated by the whole country, both those who elected him and those who did not. Once you receive the Constitution, your work is to defend the Constitution. It has every Kenyan there. So arguing from a point of protecting the interest of the Kenyan, he might choose to sign or not sign. So what I'm trying to say is
the independence of
the judiciary and the National Assembly, they are all subservient to the executive.
So it's not true that these three arms of government are equal.
The independence is not fully independent. It's like the way we have the Bill of Rights, freedoms, but the freedoms are not absolute freedoms. There are some limitations, of course. So that is how it works. So the judiciary, the National Assembly, they have to act as per the mandate given to them, and the space that is provided to them, they should use it effectively. But if they insubordinate themselves, then they will definitely find themselves in such a squeeze.
Thank you, viewers, for keeping up with this conversation. I want us to move to the place where we talk about these insults that happened last week, and it came as a surprise to many, and we were hearing things we could not believe they could come from the mouths of some of the people that Kenyans respect so much. What happened that we could find ourselves with insults flying all over? What happened?
Before I call it an insult,
yes.
Sorry. I heard from where it emanated from as coming from Rigathi Gachagua, which did not come as an insult. It came as an advice.
Are you sure?
What if Rigathi Gachagua was talking about President Ruto's spleen or kidney or liver or intestine or, colon or whatever, something internal?
That he talked about ears.
I'm getting there. Okay. Something that you cannot see. You can grow thin because of some ailments inside there that requires a doctor's report. You understand?
Okay.
But if you see me losing weight and I'm seated next to you, unless you turn a blind eye, you're supposed to ask me what's not happening or what's happening. It's normal. And he had explained, let alone how journalists deal with picking a clip that they want to sell. He was talking about you are there in the Adani. You are there in pipeline, whatever deal. You are there in Safaricom deal. You are there in infrastructure bill. You are there in all these things. And he explained, you obtained Apex, that manufacturing company. You obtained Bamburi, cement company. You obtained another steel company or something. Now, how much is enough for you?
Okay.
Just the way you'd offer friendly advice. Now see how it has taken you down. And I'll tell you this. When I begin to lose weight or add weight, I could be suffering from something we call depression. And I don't have to be a qualified doctor to understand this. I just have to be somebody who is keen on behaviors of people. When I'm depressed, there are people who increase their appetite. They eat more and not add weight. Others eat more and add weight. Others don't even eat at all. There are others who choose to withdraw themselves from others. There are others who speak more. They become extra garulas. Yet they were taciturn before, So when we are looking at things from this scope, there are others who lose appetite, others who lose weight. If I lose weight, it will explain something is a problem with me, which I should have checked. Whether we were fighting with you or you are my friend, if I tell you please, and I'm begging you, check on what's happening. If it's these things, you have an option.
Okay.
You have an option. Set yourself a threshold, say enough is enough.
Was it the concern of
Gachagua
to talk about?
We saw it ourselves.
The weight. Is it his concern?
The president is a public figure. We have his photos of March, February 2025, 2024, 2022. Something is happening. How come you're losing weight so fast?
So you don't think there was an insult?
There's no an insult. It's an advice. It came in actually as an advice. Take the whole clip.
Why that?
One thing that happens, if you lose weight, will you not have protruding bones? Will I not have protruding bones? You see my ears here, which are covered with some little flesh here. If I grow thinner right now, I would get back to where I used to be when I was a small boy. When they used to call me a certain name that was attached to my ears. They were big, and they are still big. It's only that I have some flesh here, by the grace of God. So what I'm trying to say is, if they get back to that point, and you call me what they used to call me, mascutarara, it actually bothered me until 1991. Until 1991, when I went to the ambassador booths, you see the ambassador hotel, there were some phone booths that were there. And a man came with holes, 2 holes, and this lobe, this small thing here. That's the only ear that God had allowed him to have. And he was stepping on that booth, vile unakanyaga booth, konda na unaongea, kando na kando. And he was laughing, enjoying his phone call with a hole as an ear. And the Lord asked me, you've been troubled and bothered by your ears. I have the power to take yours, give to him, and give yours, give you what he has, an open hole. So I'm asking, I actually left the queue and went home to cry. Because for so many years, I hated myself. I always thought I had knock knees, and I didn't have, but I thought I had, because somebody called me so. A young boy called me so when we were small boys.
Name calling.
And I believed so. Until God took me, the same year, 1991, God took me again to archives, National Archives, there was a disabled man who was amputated both legs. I'm only trying to explain. That is a change of mind. Somebody, we must grow out of this because it's an nonsensical thing Kenyans have been discussing for the whole of last week. When I grow thinner, that gentleman didn't have legs. So you're complaining about your knock knees? Yes. What if I take your knock knees and give it to this person and you take his no legs? We have to start thinking. At least he has ears. At least I had ears. It's just a matter of saying, so what? There's somebody who's complaining and bothered by his small ears. So these two people must get themselves to grow out of that mentality and begin to see things from a different aspect. Somebody told me, the closer I put this notebook, I may not even see the camera or anything else that is in the room. What if I push it to a distance? I'll begin to see other things that will actually complement and advise what I have been saying. And I'll opt to have this as my setting this as my point of focus. So what the president needed to do. So what's the problem?
So you don't...
The fact that the church...
You don't believe it should have received, because sometimes, you know, this politician, it is fire for fire.
I'll give you an example. I'll give another example. Short one. Very short one.
Do you think that Gachagua drew fire that he was not worthy of?
Let me give you an example. I'm 71 years old, vying for a parliamentary seat. Okay? Competing with a 44-year-old, you know, or a 30-year-old also within the race, lady. Now, would you still call me a young lady at 71? Would you call me a young lady? Don't I be fit to be called a grandma? Because I am a grandma. Don't I be fit? I'm using a very specific word. Don't I be fit? I'm not interviewing you. It's the people I'm posing a question to them. Don't I be fit to be called a grandma? But let's be a little bit respectful. Let's call her mom. That's how that politics ended up becoming. Our mom. Okay? It is our mom playing the girls' game. You understand? So who is in the wrong pitch?
So you now,
the person in the wrong pitch.
No, in Gachagua mentioned ears, and he mentioned Kukonda, slim body. Wait.
Yes.
And then the rejoinder, the answer, it came as chakula mingi.
The answer came chakula mingi, kunyamba, you know, this kind of words is not right, which are not right. It's also supposed to be aired, but he said it. But you don't echo it.
So, why should we end up there? Because now, I believe, and this is my and with Gachagua and our president and the president, one has greater responsibility than the other. If Gachagua may have nothing to lose, but the president has something to lose because he's in office. Do you think the president should have responded differently?
Absolutely. Silence is one of the greatest weapons. I can choose to ignore what you've said, or I can instill some sense in what you've said. What if the president said, if you see there's a problem with me or I'm suffering, why don't you pray for me?
And the story ends there.
Push it there. Let the people now say, weko nini ufanye kitu ya kumsaidia. You understand? And that is how you respond to these things. That's how you water down propaganda. Secondly, this is a political game. Strategy is part of the legal game.
So what is Gachagua trying to do?
Strategy is part of the legal game. Gachagua applies it. When you lay a strategy, I want these machines to end up in my house. I'll begin to plan on how they will come to my hands one by one, or wholesome.
All right.
That is called a strategy. It's a plan. So the moment you find them in my house and you're working from my studio, what does it tell you? It tells you, I don't know where we lost it. You're the one who will be asking yourself this question. But somebody else is enjoying the game. Now, Rigathi Gachagua has his advisors and he's also a strategist. Now this, I'm talking about him as an individual. He knows when I say this, I know where I'm touching and I know the results and I know how long it's going to go. Then we wonder, how come he speaks things back to back, one after the other. Mnaenda ni kama mnaenda kumaliza kuongea hiyo, he introduces another one. Okay. You understand? So what I'm trying to say, that is being playing a strategic game in politics. The political scientists will tell you that this is how it is. Each one of them. Why do you think the president is not in office in State House? He's on the rooftop of vehicles? Because he's working towards dismantling these other guys. Because they're in a competition. And let me tell you, Makiu, my brother, when you are in politics, campaigns begin the first day. You begin to take record of what you are doing if you are elected. 1, 2, 3. So that I can use it towards elections, that this is what I've done. With whose resources? Public resources. The one who does not have resources begins to think on how he will discredit what you're doing by either making it better for the interest of the people, showing you that would have done much more, introducing the issue of accountability, you know, and fighting positively like the gentleman called Didi Nyoro, who tells you, come and do the audit of 150 million shillings.
Okay.
You know, and they discovered, if I do the audit of his math, then I will awaken my people in my constituency. Wataniuliza hata heri ungetumia 100 badala hiyo 150 ile Didi Nyoro anatumia. Okay. So what I was trying to say when I mentioned about people being kept poor is so that we can continue thinking like that. At here, they are politicians. Politicians think like this. No, I told you, we are all politicians. We participate in political systems, with political laws. They are not spiritual. They are political laws. They are very secular. And each one is actually made out of some political agitation. So the euphoric mentality, I cannot claim to be independent and owning my mind, which God uniquely created and gave to me, to brains to use, and I am waiting for the communities to say what they are saying so that I can echo. Then it means somebody is failing somewhere. Oh, walikudanganya ukiwa wapi? Kwani umekuwa mjinga kuliko wale? And these are the tough questions we're supposed to ask ourselves. Okay. And so even in the decision of the choices you're going to make in 2027, you must listen to what the person is saying. What am I going to benefit? Isn't that what we're supposed to ask ourselves? So whose interest am I addressing? Mine. Then the politician comes. He knows, okay, if I stop working and earn the 100 million shillings and earn allowances out of these 150 million shillings, then, and my business is still going on, then I'm good. Whose interest is he talking about? Okay. He's talking about his own interest. So everybody must make sure you have your interests right here on the table. Right. Go vote for it. That's why they are saying niko kadi kwa sababu ya hii na hii na hii, oh hell by tufiki nini, and I like it when I hear these young people talk like that.
Let's move quickly. Advise Gachagua, advise the president in just 1 minute.
The political temperature is rising.
At the wrong time.
No, there's no wrong time.
It's not at the right time.
Like I said, being in politics, you begin to implement your strategies for the campaign time of the end of your time at the beginning of the term.
But then now it's about them. It's not about Kenya. It's not about the citizens.
Allow me to explain to you.
Do we just leave to proper politicians to sit in offices? Allow
me to explain to you. The MP goes to the village and asks them, what do you want us to do? You've heard of proposals for, you know, projects that you intend to be implemented. The public gives through public participation. Okay? Once they have presented this, the one who is elected begins to work on it. He doesn't work on it alone. He works with members of the same public to implement this whole thing. Okay? Now, these people, while they're doing these things, they act as the defense of the person who's been elected, that we are doing this and this is what we wanted, and so this person defends the person, the individual who has been elected. And so the people who are actually funding this whole politics are the Kenyans themselves. Because they're saying, you promised us this, how come you've not done it? It's not actually the politician who is asking. The politician is echoing what they are asking from this point here, you know, the village. Kwa nini hujatufanyia hii na ulituambia? You get the point. Now, this person being elected as a representative and does his work very well as a representative, he blows it up. That's why he actually explodes with this information and ileta yanika kule inakaa kitu kubwa, but it's emanated from a village, and a village has got people. People are the voters.
What should Gachagua do?
Transformation of Rigathi Gachagua depends on the transformation of the people. Transformation of William Ruto depends on the transformation of the mindset of the people. So, the people were not talking about Ruto's ears. It's not William Ruto. He spoke once. So who's talking about the ears? It is us. So what if we get now to the understanding? So what's wrong with what God has given you? Whether while thin or fat.
Yeah, because seasons come and go.
Yeah, seasons come and go. There was a time I had hair up to this far, and it used to live on, you know, the box hairstyle. Today, if you do it, it can't work. I used to have 32 teeth. Today, I have few, you know, fewer than 32.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
and with time, I'm going to lose them all. You know, yeah, that's the reality.
No, God will keep them there.
All right. Yeah. But that's
Okay.
it is. No, I'm
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
at some point
yeah.
in time, because we don't share the similar denture because some of them are stronger to hold teeth even at 90 and 100 while still 32.
Yeah.
But there are others who lose them at 40. And this is how God created us. You know, I can't die at 40 because I've lost teeth at 40. You can't die at 90 because you've lost your first tooth at 90. It's a matter of celebrating what God has given to us. And like I said,
yes.
he has ears and today are bigger.
Okay.
Change on the budget,
All right.
sleep more, sleep a lot, because I hear he doesn't sleep. I'm not the one who said it. They said the ones who are close to him. He doesn't sleep. He should change his sleeping habit, should relax, should not be combative.
They said something was not presidential.
Yeah, you know, when he came down to talk about the word I mentioned here, and you kind of felt, why you mentioned that name? Of course, it's a simple biological function.
Yeah.
It happens everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
it's normal. But you see, we have kind of demonized it.
Yeah.
And
No,
it
no,
looks
the
like
language, you know, some decorum.
Let me use the language.
Yeah.
I was taught by a teacher who taught me Kiswahili and said, usiseme kunyamba, useme kutoa machuzi. So how many Nairobians know that word?
So no, I have never.
How many Nairobians call toilets msalani? That's what I'm saying. If this is the language of Nairobi, if this is the language of Kenya, and it's understandable, and it's normal, it's within our normal life,
okay.
Let's not try and put it to become something so strange.
All right, okay, let's move on because I
So
want you
they
to
should
say
desist
something
from
about
they should desist from these
public
exchanges.
Yeah.
But politically, they are allowed. Maybe somebody looking at it from a spiritual scope will say this is not how it should be. But psychologically, politically, it's a matter of dismantling somebody psychologically and physically.
Okay.
That is politics.
All right. We must move on and ask the Kenya, because today is a big day for ODM, and we want to know which way. But about the insults, this is my opinion. Of course, you know, I'm a pastor, but when I come here today, I don't want to say the Bible says, because I've come to discuss normal issues that concern us as Kenyans. And also, I'm wearing the media cape. But what I know is right is that the president needs to be respected. And it can never be that we be a country that does not respect people that are in office. And actually, that's why people talk about the presidency. We must respect the presidency. You know now what I mean when I say that. But at the same time, the president also must carry himself as the father of the nation, and know that everybody puts their hope in him, that by this man our country can change, by this man our country can go the right way. And I feel there is need for restraint, so that the president can be the person he's supposed to be to the nation, be the father. But if the father is talking loose language, then you know the citizens are really confused about what is going to happen. And so I also want to say that if politicians begin to climb the rooftops of vehicles and there is still 1 full year of work in the office, then who is going to lose is Kenyans. Right now, we are just building somebody's salary, somebody's stomach, somebody's personal life by talking too much about just an individual. We have lost the direction of the nation, and because of that, sasa tunajenga watu, sio inji tunajenga. So I would really pray that we tone down. I don't know when we will pass a law whereby campaigns are illegal until the last year of election. And I really look forward, because that will give us an order, because if you are calling a public meeting, a rally, political rally, we want to know why are you calling it, and it is not election year. And because now you see the president trying to counter the forces of the opposition. Now he has left the office, and he needs to be in the office and helping Kenyans and lifting the country and leading the country forward. So it's not working for the advantage of the country.
If you give me, I was requesting for just 1 minute to make a clarification. When you talk about respect, we know that respect is both ways. If you want your children to or my children to respect me, it depends on how I carry myself, both in the house and in public. It depends on the kind of language I use, both in private and in public. Now, that way, you don't have to tell me to respect you. I'll respect you because you respect me. But when you're seated in a sitting room and a child is asking, "Hey, kwani wanatukanana?" That tells you one thing. It has sunken so low. And you see, when I was trying to explain, I'm explaining how you can misunderstand an advice. The fact that the whole Kenya or the whole world is saying Rigathi Gachagua was wrong for advising him, you need to check yourself. Know when enough is enough. You know, it's personal, but it was a very good advice. Because what if this is what's eating you up? You know, and somebody said it's only because you're saying it in public.
Okay,
but what is there to be hidden? So what you're trying to say is that I think the president should tone it down by watering it down.
Even the
it shouldn't be an issue. Advise your people. Advise your people not to say it. The opposition should also not hype. I mean, don't tell me just talking about ears is illegal, because if so and so loses a certain feature in whatever, I should just understand and say this is how it should be.
Let's leave it there. But I still feel like we also need to begin to be people who can, honor what is honorable.
Jesus Christ wanted to have the opinion of the three opinions.
Thank you. Which way is ODM? And we are saying this in less than 4 minutes. Which way is ODM? Because is it splitting? Is it coming together? Is ODM, of course, is ODM now going fully into the government? Is ODM going to remain in the opposition? What ODM did for Kenyans, will it ever be able to do it for Kenyans again? The kind of national following that ODM had, will ODM be able to master the same following again if they go the way they are going? And so I just give you one short, brief moment to comment. I think the national delegates conference is ongoing right now. Is ongoing right now. Which way Sifuna, which way Oburu? We want to hear and call it a day. Karibu Mureithi.
The adherence of ODM principles, ODM party, ODM, everything that goes with ODM, appertains to ODM, are members of the ODM. And the unifying factor of ODM has, for the longest time, being Raila Odinga, the late Raila Odinga. He's the one who's been unifying ODM as a person and as a character. And so, having positioned him in such a lofty place that we will expect he will always work as per your instructions. He acted to them as a father. As a matter of fact, they used to call him Baba. He was called Baba. And he was Baba to them because whatever he says goes. Okay? So the factions that are coming up with people who have benefited from Baba out of Baba's declarations. Either it's during elections or during the running of the affairs of the party. Whatever Baba says carries the day. But what people did not understand and prepare themselves, especially members of the ODM, is like a family. When the father has left, the mother continues to echo what the father was saying.
Okay.
And the mother, with the respect of being the mother of all children, then the family holds. But at that point, those who could not express themselves before the father, because if the father says no, it becomes no, now they are telling mama, this is not right. But at the exit of mama, it means these people become equals and they will have to be confused for a moment. You know, they will have infightings, and that means either they will break their family or unite their family. And uniting the family is subjecting themselves to one of their equals. Means, yes, we are all siblings, but we must subject ourselves to so and so. If you go out to the cultural thing, and which is also spiritual thing, the eldest son has got some special powers and privileges granted to him, even by God himself. Now, when we come to family, the day the family heals, then they realize that I think we need to have our eldest brother take charge, lead us, guide us. He knows more than the rest of the siblings. Now, the eldest brother is not Oburu Odinga. They were all equals, but they will have now to settle, because the aspect of Oburu is introducing the family aspect, which they should be very careful about. And that's why either it remains the Odinga family party, or it becomes a national party, the Orange Democratic Movement Party. Because at some point they will have to agree. And if they do it before elections, it will be better for them. If they do it after elections, then they will have to plan for making it reasonable and sensible in the next term. But if they allow it to be swallowed, broken into pieces that cannot be put together, because your opponent is not there to work to make you or build you stronger. You think His Excellency the President is there to make ODM stronger than UDA. He's there to make UDA stronger, vouching, scavenging on what is left on ODM after the father has left, and they are now fighting of who becomes who and who becomes what. So that fight is there. And people hold some precepts that they're going to run with and sell. Sisi baba alituambia ni hadi uchaguzi wa 2027. Ndiyo, hadi uchaguzi wa 2027. Others are saying we are taking it beyond 2027 with His Excellency President William Ruto. But Baba was to support William Ruto until elections, but they were going to have a presidential candidate. Can you present a presidential candidate the eve of the elections? So they must plan them earlier. And that is what the likes of Akina Sipuna, Babu Wino, and Rengo, they know that you have to prepare that candidate right from now. So that split of ODM is going to continue. How about those people who are being denied opportunities?
NDC today, which way do you think they will go?
NDC today, there will be a lot of money that will be poured in the Linda Inchi, in the Linda Inchi camp. There'll be a lot of money. So we were talking to a needful and hungry Kenyans.
Linda ground.
Yes, Linda Inchi. Linda Inchi na Linda Mwananchi. So whatever ground I'm
on. Linda Mwananchi na
Mwananchi na Linda Inchi.
Ground.
Linda ground. So the Linda ground will get a lot of money to convene the meeting and converge. Everybody to converge in one point. Money today will be there and is given to needful. Is given to needful people. So what are they sufficing? The wallet. So I will go there and furnish my wallet and wear an orange t-shirt today and get 5,000 shillings. I mean, I'd rather go there because it's worth being there, seeing two term, but the mind is in one term. You know, singing two term and ukokadi. You know, this is how politics plays. So on the other side, they will be having the agenda.
At the end of the day, ODM will be in government.
What the ground says, check the masses. Uncompromised masses, are they with the Linda Mwananchi or with the Linda ground?
No, but
I'm saying this is what tells you. This is what tells you the strength is never in the individual. It is in the masses.
Will ODM remain in the government, or the delegates? Do you think the delegates have power to stand up against the leadership of ODM?
ODM are people, members, supporters.
Okay.
The only way you can judge is not those people who have been convinced and bundled in buses and taken to a certain point. Fill up a stadium.
No. Let's talk about the NDC. Which way will it go?
There are two NDCs. The others are saying they have their own. The NDC that is supposed to be convened by ODM, their ODM
has not been called as ODM. It's called as Sifuna.
I don't want to echo Governor Wanga's sentiments Those are hers, and she has her own interest, you know. And we know what they are saying. Seeing from outside, we know what they're saying. Governor Wanga is beyond 2012, beyond 2027, and so this is the pro-Ruto team. Now, I asked you, do you think William Ruto is going to create for himself a monster to deal with in 2027? No. He's going to break them. So he has to play a part as those supporting but breaking them.
As friends,
in reality,
breaking them.
in friends, as friends but breaking them. For what interest? His 2027 re-election bid. You get the point? Now, the only way you gauge whether what he has done has impact is when you will see the where are they meeting? Is it the meeting where? Which is
Mufungamano?
No, this other side. This Bwanga side.
Okay, I think
wherever. It's a bigger stadium. With them, those who are meeting there, they may be many, but compromised. Tomorrow, they will go back to their default settings. Now, you find the same people in these guys chanting one term without hiding. Okay. You get the point? So what I'm trying to say is that it's a two-term, one-term thing. For who? For William Ruto, it's two-term with the Wanga team. And for Sifuna team, it's one-term. And that's why I'm saying the masses, after these meetings today, check where the masses fall. Then they will tell you who they are and what they are.
Okay.
It's only one vote that is carried by one luminary, but
right.
Majority of the votes are carried by the people.
It looks like the ODM that is
it must split
in bed with the government. Looks like today they will carry the day.
Splitting day.
It looks like they will carry the day and affirm that they are with the government and they will support, because I even have heard some of them publicly say two-term. And it looks like the people that are with the Sifuna, only that they are not coming out. Even if there are many that are supporting Sifuna, they are not speaking, they are not saying it, they are keeping quiet. You know, so Sifuna appears to be alone with just like around Babu and a few others. But they seem to have the following, they seem to have the people. We only can wait and see, and I think we must call it a day at this point.
I think from a political point of view,
yes,
as a chief campaigner, when you're doing your strategies, I don't care how many people will attend your meeting. I care how many people agree with you.
Okay.
Because attending a meeting, like we said, actually the opposition sends people to those meetings, and then in Poke Futano, and that's how politics is done. Anyway,
wow,
too much of that.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Muredi, for your honest comments and analysis.
Most obliged.
We are going to do this again coming Friday, and as a pastor, I don't shy away from talking about issues that concern the normal human beings, because if I only know only the spiritual part and they don't live in the spirit, they also live in the physical realm.
Naturally spiritual.
Pastors must be at grasp with the issues that concern their citizens, and that is why I take time also to detour and come and talk about what is happening in the country. Leadership Challenge Show continues next Friday at a time like this one, and until then, from us here and Muredi is bye-bye and see you next Friday. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.